Welcome to the Jake's Board Shorts. We are currently live from the Joglo. We've had to move venues from the Green Couch to this beautiful old 100-year-old Joglo. And on my left, on your right, is Mr. Jordan Griffin, live and direct, coming at you straight from Ulus. Welcome, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's nice.
Stoked we made the time today.
Yeah, it worked out good.
It has been. And we, I was thinking about this today. We met a few years ago. We collided into one another in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, that was a funny one.
Tuk-tuks.
Yeah. Well, no, it was first because I remember we were at the airport and we didn't know where we were going. And we're going, hey, yeah, you know where to get a ride around here?
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. It was hectic. And we turned up in the middle of the night. You guys already sorted. You'd been there hundreds, or
we've done it. We've done a
times.
couple missions. Yeah.
But yeah, and then we collided with tuk-tuks.
Yeah, we did. I remember a pretty fun, eventful mission through the national park, and you guys had found a cow skull.
Yeah.
And you mounted it onto the front of your tuk-tuk.
That's right.
And it was like straight Mad Max action. We were racing. In fact, I got some video from those times.
Yeah, sick.
It was pretty classic. And then going to the temple. That temple at the beginning of the national park where we got
yes, that's right.
We got blessed, right?
Yeah.
With the
remember
tikka.
that.
We had the third eye blessing.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was pretty cool. And then we probably...
Something I wouldn't have done if you didn't go, hey, let's just quickly stop here.
Yeah.
Get a roti.
Grab a roti.
Yeah, a little blessing. That was cool.
And I think you were there competing as well, weren't you? There was a comp happening at Aragon Bay. I think you won it.
No. That was a bit awful.
Oh, there was some questionable.
But that was right.
But you podiumed.
Yeah.
Right?
I think I got
second or third.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't there to do it. It just happened to be on. I was like, I just got my shortboard to the left, so I took it out.
Perfect.
It was cool.
And it's the land of rights.
Yeah.
Elephants,
so sick.
Tuk-tuks. What a magic place Sri Lanka is. I love Sri Lanka.
Yeah. The right-handers are definitely amazing.
Yeah, beautiful. So many. The kind of medium, small size, peeling sand bottom point breaks.
Yeah.
Elephants.
Yeah.
Peacocks.
Yeah. Elephants just cross the road and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, whoops, go around them.
Amazing. What a magic place.
Totally.
Yeah. And you, Jordan, have been. I mean, keeping up with you and keeping tabs on you, and I'm sure you with me and the family on the social media platforms, just watching you evolve and shift and start shaping more boards.
Yeah.
Were you shaping back then?
I had done a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd done a handful. Maybe a couple handfuls, but not that many. I don't even think I had any there in the Sri Lankan trip when we met, but it was when I got home. It sort of what's the word for that? Morphed, yeah.
That's a word we could use.
Perfect. So yeah, and that's where it sort of,
would you like to say after trans?
Yeah, trans.
Transmigrated?
Yeah. Transformed? I don't know. Yeah.
Transmuted?
Yeah, that's probably better.
Yeah, well, let's just say morphed.
But no, that was, so I hadn't done too many, but it definitely the ball started rolling when I got home and sort of, kept on going on with it.
And so what year was that? What year do you reckon?
I was looking back a couple of days ago because a friend here asked me how long I'd been building boards, and I was like, shit, I didn't know the answer. And I was like, I looked back because I knew we were going to that question would be asked. And it was 9 years ago. So
so 2013-ish.
Yeah.
That was the Sri Lanka mission.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense because the twins would have been about 5. That's right. They're pretty small. Flynn was pretty. I think it was 7 or 8.
Yep.
This mini.
Yeah, rattled because he was left. Right.
That's
He's going to sucks.
He was like, exactly. But for us, it was like in heaven. Right hand peeling point breaks.
Yeah. It was pretty
so
cool.
9 years, and we were chatting earlier. You take a lot of kind of influence from your dad. You were saying at least in the surfing front, your dad's a hardcore surfer.
Yeah, he surfed so well. Did a handful of world titles, like amateur ones back in like the late 80s, early 90s. Okay. Shortboard. I don't know how many shortboard ones he did, but he did a few longboards ones. Got 1/3 in Japan, which was quite cool. That's pretty sick.
Really?
Yeah. Wayne Dean actually won it that year.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so
your dad was a competitive...
That was a longboarder, I guess, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, performance style.
And where did you grow up?
In Mount Maunganui, New Zealand.
So Mount Maunganui is your home?
Yeah, been there lived in 2 houses my whole life.
Right.
Well, 2 houses that my parents had anyway.
Right.
So
and they're still there?
Yeah. Dad's still in the same spot. Yeah.
In the same spot.
It's
right.
like
near the beach.
Yeah, 2 blocks back.
Right. Perfect. So just basically just roll out of the house,
pretty
sandy
cool.
feet.
Yeah.
Jump in the ocean.
Pretty mega.
Haven't been there myself yet, but I've seen some. It's a pretty surf-centric.
Yeah.
So, and pristine, hey?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's as good as it gets, really. Cold, but as good as it gets in my eyes. Yeah.
And waves, prolific, summer, winter.
Yeah.
Killer. And so a good place to be testing boards.
Yeah. And just so many good surfers around too, you know, like that's the other best thing about the place is for such a, like the surf isn't amazing there, but for such a, I guess, how do you say, like for a small town that doesn't get good surf, the surfers that it's produced is like pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So to have like those guys to be, hey, try this, try that, you know, it's pretty sick.
And you know, just to let you know, if you didn't know, Jordan, he's actually a ripping surfer as well. So he can back it up, you know, and that's the thing I think with shapers who actually also surf really well. There's something to be said about that in the sense of, you know, you're testing your craft out, you're giving feedback as well as obviously working with other really good surfers, and you're surfing 20s, singles, longboards,
a lot of logs.
Do you ever jump on thrusters?
Yeah. I brought a thruster. Thruster's in the hotel room at the moment. Yeah.
You've surfed it?
I surfed it once out Ulus because I was going left.
Right, okay.
And it was so slow.
So you've been here hunting, it's so slow, right?
It's
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. After riding twins for, so many years now, it's just like you jump on a thruster and it's like, it's pretty slow.
Yeah.
Does the job, but it's definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, that one. We could spend a lot of time just discussing the speed and the simple
flow,
lack of drag flow.
Yeah, totally.
Hydrodynamism.
Yeah.
I just created a new word there. So the shaping process, being a surfer. I know we've talked about your brother as well. Your brother's a ripping surfer.
Yeah.
He moved to the Gold Coast, or lives in Australia.
Yeah.
And jumped across the pond.
Yeah. As most you know, Kiwis that kind of surf right usually do, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Bit warmer.
Well, I would say too, you know, in fairness,
industry.
In the world we're in, the surf world, there are a couple places, hotbeds, right? You could safely say like Hawaii, no doubt.
For sure.
You could even throw in there Southern California, or that whole San Clemente area, right?
Yeah.
Maybe one or two other places, and then considering the amount of world titles and
that's on that stretch of beach, right?
Well, I was about to say Florida, weirdly enough, but maybe not for like nowadays the competitive psychological, like that edge. Australia, the Gold Coast would have to be up there.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
So your bro moved there.
Yep.
Has he been riding your boards over the years?
So he kind of, when he started, you know, get his surfboard from local shaper before I was building them, and then sort of slowly got a few others, and then I was like, I probably should give it a crack. And made him a few, kind of liked it, made him a few more, kind of like those, and then he just started getting real good, and I was going, shit, I got to like step my game up. Then he got a couple off a shaper in Australia, or from New Zealand too, Wayne Lowen, and that just took him to like this next level. It was like those boards were magic.
Just loving it.
That was and then because he was an Aussie, it was still it was kind of hard to get hold of them, and I was also real keen to get him back onto mine, as you can imagine.
Yeah, having a profile and getting media coverage is good for everyone.
Totally. Yeah. And so then I made a couple, and then he just didn't like them, and I made a couple more, and then we slowly worked into what he likes, and he's like he's kind of good at feedback, but I can watch, because he gets filmed so much now, I can watch what he does, and that's important for me, because I feel like the better surfers are real bad at giving feedback. They fucking suck. Like,
that's what Joel said in our last kind of interview.
Oh, really?
Aussie is the classic, same exactly what you just said. And he said exactly what he said. He's got to go watch. And then gauge, because
they just go, oh, it's kind of good, like, and that, like, I showed Luke the hard edge thing, like where to, like, sometimes I leave him high and we take him back, and that's the only thing he knows. He's like, oh, I think the hard edge is too high on this. I'm like, radio, Gromit. Yeah, which is cool though. At least he's like thinking about it, or trying to think about it.
I suppose it comes with time too, like you know, figuring out
totally
what he really works for him, and that's the thing. Each surfer to their own. And so, would you say the majority of your boards we talked about this too briefly.
Yeah.
Like you service a specific group of crew in your area, right?
Yeah.
Who want something different, want something special, want something attentive to detail, hand shapes.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them are machined now.
Right, okay.
Like 90% of them. I do the
you
odd
still
hand
finish
shape.
them though,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And you do them.
Yeah, I shape them or scrub them these days, but I'm still laminating, sanding, fin boxing, lap sanding, cut lapping, tinting. So it's like, it's
you do
all
everything,
yeah.
Jordan, got a question for you. The moment, or maybe moments, or maybe there was a sphere of time where you realized you really loved shaping, you loved the craft. Was there a specific time, or a board, or a light bulb going off?
Just, yeah, like the first board I built was a thruster, because I surf thrusters, right? So I was like,
how many years ago?
9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how old were you?
I can't remember. I was in school.
Right.
I was still in school.
Okay.
Yeah, school.
So 9
still
years ago. Okay.
Yeah, in college. So
and
I'm 25.
All right. So you would have been 16.
Yes.
Ish.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, there was I built a thruster, and it was a squash tail, and I did a fabric inlay on the deck, like a patch.
Where did you get a blank from?
We had this store in a couple hours out of town, and so me and Will, that I was saying before, me and him he drove over. I didn't drive yet. Me and him drove over.
The engineer.
Yeah. We drove over, and we bought a bunch of blanks, and then I just
And the glass?
Yep, they used to roll out. It's funny now that I buy it in boxes of it, you know. They would roll it out on this table, and they'd cut certain lengths that you needed, like, and then roll it up, and then they had the resin, the catalyst, or the MEKP, and the wax,
the fin boxes,
and the styrene, and then the fin boxes, and even just like little things like gloves. Like, they just had all these things. They did a lot. They did a lot.
Surfboard supply.
Pretty much like a New Zealand version of Shapers in Australia.
Yeah, right. And
Pretty
so
cool.
So you just got stuck into that with a saw? Where did you get your tools from?
Yeah, that was, so Will had made one before, and we tarped up the inside. I think we tarped up the inside of his garage for the first one, and then I had Dad lent me his planer, which was horrible because planers get caught in the lead sometimes, so the leads are a little bit furry, and so every time the lead would touch you get electric shock. Fuck, it was so brutal. Yeah, it's going along. So yeah, you hit it with, we made templates off other boards. So we Frankenstein these templates out of 5 or 6 other boards we had, and then just rip shit and bust, follow the same curve as the blank, don't change the curve, you know.
And just kind of figure out the thickness.
And then just I had these rails.
And how did you know where to route out the fins?
So that was where I was kind of lucky, because I'd been sort of immersed in the surf industry because of Dad, and everybody that Dad surfed with kind of built boards or did dings or something. So we took it down to this local shaper, Murray Valentine, and he like did the fins.
Right. He helps you out.
He routed the fins, and he set them. He's like, oh no, you got to set them a bit higher or a bit lower. And But then other than that, laminated all, did a horrible the inlay. The rails literally were like longboard rails at the front. It was thin, and it was, when it came down, it had a full 50-50 rail all the way, and then then the hard edge just started out of a full 50-50 rail. Anyway, laminated, did it, surfed it. The thing went so bad, but so good, that it was just like, I had to make another one, because it went so bad, but so it was just that feeling of just like, sick, I did it, and it floats. There's not too many pinholes. Like, there's a lot of sand throughs, and then that was it. That was the first board. It was just like, I built it, and I was like, sick. This goes bad, but I reckon I can make a better one.
This goes bad, but good.
Yeah. And then it just snowballed, and just not being able to get certain boards at that time in the country, being from small New Zealand, that was another big factor of like, oh, I like the look of that on Instagram or a video of someone, and then I'd be like, oh, how can I try build that? And I built so many boards like what I'd seen on videos and stuff that didn't look anything like it, but in my head I thought they did. But then that obviously started to look a bit more like the ones I saw. But that was kind of it. And
so what was the positive out of that board? Was there any positives you could take away from it? Other than kicking off your career and like being like number one.
I learned that in like fabric inlays suck.
Right.
And I don't know how, like, because so many guys in the States were doing them. I was like, those poor buggers. Like
I do heaps of them in Drifter.
Exactly.
They must hate us. I never even thought about it.
Yeah, it is like it was the hardest thing I've ever. And I've done a couple recently that I've just gone. And they're so nerve wracking because you only get one shot at it.
Where did you learn your craft?
By just stuffing up so many boards.
And have you trained under someone who's given you
this local shaper at home, Mike Murden, that Dad used to surf for, High Voltage it was called, and Sunshine Surfboards, that they helped me a lot. Just he'd answer the questions if I had a question, you know. And then Pete Anderson, he's pretty massive in the board building industry at home, he also answered the questions. And then Wayne Lowen, he actually went, hey, you want to come scrub some boards under a couple labels in Aussie that he worked for, just Go Shape. And that was quite cool to get numbers up and learn certain little techniques and make it quicker and better and more accurate. So that was the first time I actually stood in a bay with somebody and they go, hey, this is what you do here. And I was like, huh, okay. That I do it the hard way. All right, cool. So that was, but yeah, never really like sat down with someone and shaped boards, you know. It was just...
So like not like a mentor-student relationship. Just making mistakes. Like you said, Jordan, just grinding out boards over time.
Just because New Zealand's people have been to the Mount, like the industry's pretty small there, or even New Zealand industry's tiny compared to going to Australia, where you can just get a board cut, scrub it out, take it to the glass shop, and then it looks like...
Can you define scrub out, just to in layman's terms? Scrub out.
So... Yeah, sounds kind of sus, but so you pretty much get a board off the machine and it's been cut to your file.
Yep.
And then you literally just scrub the lines out.
Yep.
It's pretty much it.
Right.
Layman's terms, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're just finessing the...
Yeah, just shaping it down.
Yeah.
But depending on your cut, like if your file's good, you can do it pretty quick because the file's all super like thinned out and stuff, but if your file's a bit thick or...
So you have your own... You're saying you have your own space, you have a shop, you're selling basics, right? You're selling
just the hardware.
Fins and
heaps
wax,
of fins,
right?
Yeah.
And so out the back there you have your setup. So the computer machine is elsewhere.
I wish.
You get them cut and then you bring them back to your space and then you...
Yeah.
Do you have people working with you? Do you have sanders or glasses?
I did. They sort of come and go. Like one of my good mates, Jerry, sanded for years for me, which was sick. It was always nice.
Yeah.
But then he's got a, I guess you could call a real job now, office job. And then another guy comes in occasionally, like month on, month off if he feels like it, and glasses if he wants to. It's kind of hard. It's just,
So you pretty much do everything?
Pretty much.
So what's your output like?
It's just 'cause, as you were saying before, like everybody comes, or the people that do come to me, they're getting they want the highest quality, you know.
Of course,
so like,
and they want it now.
Well, yeah, and that, and so like, it's like I could do it quicker and do more clears and more sprays and all that stuff. In my eyes, I find it a lot quicker, but then no one orders that. They order their resin tints with their weird swirls or their pin lines or their...
They want the bells and whistles. Right?
And so that's what really takes up the time. I charge correctly for it now, but I reckon I'd probably do maybe 6 just. I did 7 the week before I came here, but that was like full
finished.
Yeah,
7 boards in a week.
Yeah, in 5.5 days.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Like that's what.
And they were all crazy, double coloured tints. And and crazy double coloured tints and logs. They shouldn't be 2,000. They should be 3 in my eyes.
Yeah.
You can make 3 shortboards in the time. It's crazy.
Yeah, Mitchell Ray says the same thing. He's
really?
like Mitchell Outer Island, and Jim Banks too is the same. They talk about, they're craftsmen who, you pay a carpenter or a sparky or a high-level plumber.
$80 an hour.
Yeah, minimum. So you figure how many hours you put on a longboard.
Oh, I don't even want to.
No, but I'm interested in this because the reality is a lot of people don't realise what amount of energy and time in reality goes into surfboards.
Yeah.
And specific boards, like when their attention to detail boards, not just like just sitting on a whiteboard sat on a rack. It's like, when you're making a craft, What do you enjoy shaping?
So the twin pins are amazing because that's all I'm surfing right now. That's the surfing. I felt like I did a lot of longboarding recently, logging recently, and then I kind of stopped shortboarding as much, and then I built a twin pin after my brother kept ordering them, and the level of surfing that I hadn't done that level of surfing in a few years, so obviously that's going to get the fizz going for me.
Firing you up,
Yeah, so those are amazing, and they're not swallows, so they're like a little bit quicker to build, which is also nice, especially for my boards. So those have been...
Could you do a twin pin swallow? Kind of defeats the purpose, isn't it?
Like just a small one.
Yeah, I suppose just a small one. You could.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
You do a twin pin. Twin pin. Pin.
Those have been real fun, and just dialing tiny little things in, which has been cool. And then performance thrusters, like making a board for my little brother, the level he surfs at, and then him coming back and like going, that worked epic. And like, because there's so many little minute changes that it can make a performance shortboard be the best or the worst. Mainly, well, not mainly, but a lot of it comes down to the sanding, the hard edge, as we talked about. So building those for my little brothers, like, and for anybody that wants to thrusters, because there's so many custom that I do that are like that. But yeah, performance thrusters definitely, just because of they're Ferraris, you know. So, and the surfboard and board. Choice.
Interesting. I wasn't expecting that answer at all, but I like it. I like where you're coming from with it. Makes sense. It's like progression when you look at progressive, the sharp pointy end of the surfing scale. Those progressive surfers, they're all riding thrusters.
And to be honest, I don't want to make 40 of them a year, but but they're just fun to just to keep on level with what you don't want to lose that thruster shaping sort of finesse of slow, just like fine tuning.
I'm a big fan of Craftsman.
And
just attention to detail, just the and I know from what I've seen of your boards, and I've seen many online. I've seen a couple up close, but it's like attention to detail, and you take pride in what you do. And obviously the money's one thing, making enough money to pay your bills,
and
to keep living the dream.
For sure.
That's what we call it.
Shit. After sanding laps today up in Bingen, I was like, what am I doing? But in saying that, like, it's the best job. It's sick.
Like you're in the heart of the whole industry, whether it's like...
like without surfboards, you're not going surfing, are you?
No.
So, but in saying that,
and without progression, but also that idea of we are looking backwards to and paying respect to the progression of surfboard design, and then bringing it into the present and then into the future with it. It's like all those lessons, like who's gone before you, and So if you were to look at like this age we're in, which shapers would you look up to in the sense of people you would want them to replicate, or maybe not exactly,
but
like
take pieces, right? That's what I know what you mean. The one, I feel like when I started making boards, like me and my friend Will, we started making boards together. He ended up being an engineer, real job. But me and him were just like hard bent on Gatohoroi. We were just like
Gatohoroi.
They were just like Robin Keegle was like, he was the guy, And then get it years later, lucky enough even got to meet him. I was like, I was trying to like, hey man, how's it going, but those boards were just, they were just the sickest boards. And then I feel like that their fishes weren't as performance as I would have wanted them to be, so then that's where I feel like the logs were just the way they were sick. And then I feel like the Thomas Bexon, his fishes
Thomas
were just
surfboards,
Thomas surfboards. I take a lot, like mainly like back in the day it was a lot with their fishes, like that we almost pretty much replicated them because they looked and kind of went amazing, so that was a big one for me. And then his glasses, like I kind of take a lot from the glasses now more than the actual shape, like, well I guess because I do everything, so it's like I take a lot from everybody, well, not just the shaper, you know, because Australia there is the shaper, the glasser, the sander. So but yeah, Thomas surfboards, and then I would probably say the bowless thing, like just those boards are probably the nicest short boards in my eyes. Personally, I just the way the tuck and the way he rolls his hard edge in and all that stuff's like
they're pieces of art, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, and he's able to replicate that on a commercial scale as well.
Yeah, and I've and the shapers he has under him are like almost better in my eyes. Like they're like.
Well, it's a sign of a good.
Which is sick. Which like if you were Matt Bowless, you'd be going, how good are my shapers?
Totally.
Like, you'd be like, this is epic.
That's what you want. You want people you're teaching to become better than you.
Exactly.
That's the nature of. Of creativity.
Yeah.
Or for some.
Yeah, for sure. I think. Man, there's so many. Vouch, for instance. Vouch's shapes are nice.
Squirrels. Evan Squirrel, I think, is one of the Vouch guys.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Byron,
Yeah, and yet again the finishing.
They do a lot of work with like he does
psycho.
He does Brewers, Takeyamas.
Yeah, that's right.
Renos.
And the Pinks. Yeah.
So those guys are really a pretty, and they got a lot of people in their team.
Yeah.
No, I've been to their place in Byron and bought a couple boards off them over the years.
Yeah.
And they make some beautiful boards. I think Vouch comes under the sun.
Yeah.
You know, Evan Squirrel.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Right.
I could be wrong, but
their finishing's psycho.
Yeah.
Like amazing. But yeah, there's so many. Man, I could go on for hours.
Yeah. We could give nods to many people.
Yeah, for sure. All the New Zealand shapers. You know, especially Pete. I got to say Pete Anderson, Wayne Lowen. You know, those two. I should probably mention those two, just for the fact of how much they taught me. But also, I have taken things from what they did, and it worked for my boards. So I guess that I definitely look up to both of them hugely.
Where do you see yourself going with what you're doing? Do you see yourself? Is it manageable? And are you in a position where you're able to maintain a lifestyle, doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
Or do you see yourself expanding your operations?
That's funny you say that. It's been the last couple of weeks here, just doing a little bit of work, sort of bit of shaping, just because it's enjoyable. I love doing it. So it's like the second I got an offer to go do a couple, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. I suppose what it comes down to is like alternative sources of income
and demand. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to put a monetary value on it, but to be a successful surfboard shaper, takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of commitment.
Yeah,
you're
and a lot of trust in others, because you can't do everything for as I was saying, I do 6 a week if I go hard.
Yeah,
you know, like that's
so how
nothing
can you
for
scale,
some people,
right?
Yeah.
Like I know a fair few crew over the years who've gone to Japan.
Yeah.
And they've shaped under license in Japan for a few different companies, and you can just bang out boards, get a couple $100 a board. Stay there, do a stint, maybe not as much nowadays, but
with all the shipping is easy.
And then you're staying there, you're bored, and I suppose it's getting to that place, and it just takes time and takes people getting to know you and your boards.
Yeah, I feel like
reputation.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things, like you just got to find good quality glass shops if you were to expand, and I definitely want to. Everybody wants to, right? Everybody wants to have everybody riding their boards. Like, no one's going to say they don't. Like, so that would be mind-blowing. But at the same time, I'm just a small kid from New Zealand, Like, I'm no big player. But at the same time, slowly, I feel like it just slowly. Even New Zealand, like. People like, oh, you're doing boards for out of town. Like, people in New Zealand still think I just make boards for in the Mount. Like, I'm like, man, I ship them all around the country. It's awesome. 90%, well, not 90%. I love saying that. 90%. But a bunch will a lot of them every week will get shipped, which is sad, because I love to like meet the person, because it's like, I'm like, here's your board that I spent all week on. But then at the same time, you get that phone call or that email, and they're like frothing. You know?
Totally.
But so with expanding, I feel like it's doable, and it will come. Glass shops. You gotta I'm so picky. Like, aligning
yourself with the right.
Yeah, and if you want to charge certain if you want to charge a certain amount for a board, you've got to make sure it's up to that standard. Because if you're charging X amount and giving them subpar quality, and that's be the worst for me, I think. So slowly.
Yeah.
And then with Luke in Australia, like I've got friends there that can, as I was saying before, scrub my files. They're down so minute little bits you got to do now. So they're pretty to the mill. So I've got friends there that I've given sort of, I guess you call blank boards, that I've made for Luke, and then I've gone, here's this, and they do a couple, and then when Luke comes home, he brings them home. And so that's something that I'm looking at maybe. But in saying that, the Gold Coast is full of every other board builder.
It
so
is the biggest concentrated probably zone of board
But then in the same time, there's a lot of Kiwis there, and they're like, oh, are you building boards here? I'm like, well, no, but I can offer the model that Luke's tearing on, and they kind of want a piece of that sometimes.
So what's Luke riding then?
A 5/6 twin pin. So it's like it's a wide point forward by like an inch, little bit of like of a wide nose, but not super wide like a fish. And then like a hip just after the fin and a pinish round tail.
No channels.
No channels, no trailer. Fin set pretty far back, like an inch further forward than what my keels are set at.
Right, okay.
Which is
inch further forward than the keels.
Which is like super
And you riding
far back.
the keels? Is that what you're riding?
No, uprights. They're uprights.
Right,
All
okay.
uprights.
So you're just saying
so
they're set
at
seven
7.5.
Right.
7.5 of the tail, which is normal twins back in the day. I guess when you go back to the 80s, it would have been 80s. Yeah, 80s. Way before I was born. They would have been at like that 10.5, and then down to about 9.5, and then a lot of people set them at about 8.5, 9. But then I've keep bringing them back and back and back. But we found
and the
that
benefit. What's Luke's feedback from that?
Just. So
I know what I ride. That's pretty
Yeah.
similar to what I ride, other than I've
Yeah.
chucked some channels in there. You know what I mean? Just have that extra hold.
Sure. Especially it's offshore every day here. Right.
Exactly.
So-
And it's cleaner wave. Generally clean waves.
Yeah. So he found that you don't need a trailer, obviously, first of all, which is sick because that's one less thing you're not dragging.
Get rid of the trailer.
Yeah. Otherwise, just ride a thruster.
Hydrodynamism.
He can push as hard as his thrusters, and that's what we were sort of trying to get to. Was like he wants a board that he can do his tricks that he does on his tricks, turns, whatever he does on a short board thruster, but he wanted to translate that, morph that into his twin fin riding. Yeah. So that was sort of cool.
And is that his primary board? He's riding primarily 20s? Oh, sick.
It's crazy. And
So
doing like massive, these big, he's a bit shorter than me and my other brother. We're big, lanky, tall, sore-kneed pricks. He's a little bit shorter and sort of can do these little whips. He does these crazy big fin 360s. It's gnarly.
Mental.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, sick. So super progressive surfing.
Yeah, on a
twin pins. On a 5.6 20.
Yeah.
Volume-ish, 26 litres.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that?
Sometimes we take them down depending on the season. Yeah. So it's quite cool. We've sort of dialed in his winter boards.
Too many pies?
Nah, if he's wearing a wetsuit.
Too many possums?
Too many rat coffins?
He needs
Franken blankets.
So it depends on the wetsuit.
Yeah.
Thickness.
So so in Aussie we drop down like a whole litre.
Yep.
And then in New Zealand we'll just beef it up, maybe take it an inch longer.
Yep.
Just because he's in a 4.3, booties, gloves, fuck, all the rest.
Manganui, 4.3, booties, gloves.
Right now, yeah.
That cold, huh?
Gloves, or you can sort of swap them out. If you want booties, you wear the booties. Or you want the hood, you wear the hood. Or if you want to be super toasty, you can run everything.
Oh, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
I'd be running everything and one of those heat packs.
Hard out.
Or just maybe I'd just be watching.
Yeah.
But then again,
it's
when
cold.
the waves are fire and it's kind of it's
you can't not.
The cold or the weather becomes less consequential.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And do you? I mean, obviously Bali, bit of a mission here.
Yeah, that was cool. It's been good. It's been nice.
Get out of that whole bubble.
Yeah, it's
lockdown thing for a few years.
It's been a minute.
Right. Yeah. And where else would you consider tuning into? Have you any other places in your mind's eye that you want to go surf?
I was kind of. Yeah, it's a hard one. I want to go back to Sri Lanka. There's a bit going on there at the moment.
Yeah, there is. There is definitely.
So I'm like, damn, maybe not this year, but that's right.
Probably also not a bad time to go.
Yeah.
As long as there's enough fuel to get the transport from the airport to the bay.
12 hours, eh?
Yeah, that would be the issue.
Cans.
Yeah, that'd be the issue. But it's on my radar as well for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to follow a swell from here, get a swell that hits kind of Ulus or hits Indo, and then pushes up. It needs to be more kind of south, more African direction.
Yeah, right.
And heads up to Sri Lanka. I'd love to surf here and then
that would be pretty
jump
cool.
a flight. It's an idea.
Fuck, that would be pretty sick.
Yeah, it would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
So right-handers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else.
And where else? Where else would you consider to be?
To be honest, it's. I just love going to Karamas at the moment. It sounds probably pretty bad. Everybody's probably, the people that are listening going, come on, he must be somewhere else. But at the moment, I would like to go back to Portugal, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough before shit at the fan, I went over there to a gliding barnacles contest. So it's like a longboard sort of.
Gliding barnacles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went there and I built a few boards. That was cool, met a lot of interesting characters. And so I definitely want to go back there. And in saying that, it's that whole coastline, like all the other countries that connect, right? I haven't been through there, so I've done a lot of Central and South America. I'd like to.
You have? South America, where? Peru?
Peru.
I think you were mentioning that the other day.
Yeah, Panama. But that, I guess, it wasn't really a holiday. I kind of did it in the Junior Worlds stuff, the ISA stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really a holiday. We sort of drove from the airport to a certain spot.
Yeah.
But it was still like I've kind of done a little bit of
mission,
it.
Yeah.
Mexico.
How about Morocco?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I mean, it's relatively close to Portugal.
Yeah.
Lots of right-handers.
Yeah, bit colder, but so's Portugal.
Yeah.
So that's right. Yeah, Morocco sounds pretty lovely.
Then again, Mexico too is also not a bad option.
Yeah, see, I knew I'd figure something out when I started waffling. So, Mexico, I've never been.
Right.
So that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, definitely a land rich in waves.
Right-handers too.
Long way from here.
So
we're so spoilt here.
Yeah.
We really are in Indo. Like, for me being kind of stuck here, not in a negative way for the last couple of years, and doing a little bit of foraying out to the outer regions and experiencing, some pretty radical, uncrowded venues and tasting the nectar.
That would have been pretty psycho.
There were moments for sure. I can look back now and be like, wow. Yeah, we were blessed. We scored.
Pretty mega.
And rights. The rights that shall not be named.
Yes. Yeah.
There was one or two sessions.
Yeah. Right.
I'm the same. I like livid Ulus, and I don't mind getting tubed in my backhand. I do like.
Yeah. Right.
Got used to it over time. I do like it.
Scary when you fall off, right?
I'm all right. I don't know. I just have a dig,
Done
bro.
enough, yeah.
But that being said,
Ziggy
is a regular foot.
Yeah, true. There you go.
Travel. Flinny's goofy.
Yeah, he can stay here.
He can stay here, and he loves it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
as you can imagine.
Enough about that. So are you still representing? I mean, for a little while there, you were working with Ruka, right?
Yeah.
Still doing some stuff with them?
Not really. No. Well, no.
Nah.
That sort of, I feel like, sort of just slowly sort of fizzled out when sort of the whole sale of the whole company finished.
Okay.
But in saying that, I was never really. They supported me in certain things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
They helped me out with that, but I was never paid.
Right.
Which is all good. There's other people that were better, so fair enough.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that like Ruka as a brand traditionally over time have been supporting creators and artisans and shapers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
I definitely did some.
I remember when I met you did some cool
trips. I met a lot of people that I've always wanted to meet, and I got to meet. I was like, sick.
Yeah.
From a kid from New Zealand, I'd like met a few heroes because of it, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
Sweet, man. Well, I would have to say that I'm really looking forward to jumping on one of your boards, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully we can get Flinny shaped one up, and I'm gonna pinkle that one.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Can you see if
there's a few up in Echo's shop right now?
Oh, okay.
Well, there will be a few.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's going to be cool.
Poke my nose in.
Yeah. Get your greasy mitts on a few.
Yeah, go have a sticky beak. Go have a taster.
After a nasi
Go
jumper,
Yeah. Echo.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to say, bro?
No.
Any pearls of wisdom that you want to bequeath upon us?
Thank You Glasser, Sander, and Fin Boxer. They're doing a lot more than what you. Well, if you don't know, they do a lot. So definitely, drop the beers off to them as well as the shaper. That goes a long way.
All right.
Yeah.
So love your local sander.
Laminator.
Yeah, laminator.
And Finbox router.
And anyone who does any channels, right? Who would be like,
the poor buggers.
Yeah. I've got some people on my list I want to interview over the next year or two. You know, the Mitchell Ray.
Yeah.
You know, Outer Islands, who's been shaping since, you know, the dinosaurs were around.
Yeah, totally.
You know, one or two others, and then there's this a new progressive movement of younger shapers who are also really talented surfers, and I would put you into that category. And I like the fact that, you know, you're a local surfer in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And you know, you're like making premium quality product.
Yeah, for sure.
Boards, tools for maximizing fun.
Yeah, hard out.
Because for the same reason I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, I love surfing.
Yeah.
And I love surfboards.
Yeah. That's who doesn't, right?
There's never too many.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, it's good to like-minded crew, Jordan. So thanks very much for sitting with us here today in the Joglo.
Yeah. It's pretty psycho.